For part B, we're supposed to find out on what open intervals contained in -5 to 4 is the graph of g both increasing and concave down. Okay, so up here, g will be increasing. Any function is increasing when its derivative is positive, greater than 0. So g prime of x is equal to f of x, fundamental theorem of calculus. And so that means g is increasing when g prime of x, which is equal to f of x, is greater than 0. F of x is greater than 0 when the graph of f is above the x-axis. So that's going to happen from -5 all the way to 2. At one point it hits 3, but that's a shelf, so it never goes below. So it's from -5 to 2, the function's in g is increasing. So we've got to take that into account. And then the other stipulation is we want to know when it's concave down. It has to be both of these. So it's concave down when the second derivative is negative. Well, since g prime equal to f of x, g double prime will be f prime of x. And we want to know when f prime of x is less than 0. Well, f prime is the slope of f, and that'll be less than 0 when the slopes are negative. So we're going to do, that's going to happen from -5 to -3. And it's also going to happen from 0 all the way to 4. That's when g is going to be concave down. Now, where do those overlap? From -5 to 2, and this is -5 to -3, and then 0 to 4. So we've got two places we're going to have to take into account. We know that g prime of x is equal to f of x, and g double prime of x is equal to f prime of x. And so we will say that the graph of g is increasing and concave down on the intervals. And once again, if you take a look at these intervals, we're talking about from -5 all the way to +2, we're going to be, g is increasing, but it's concave down from -5 to -3, but it's also concave down from 0 to 4. So if that was 0 and this was 4, it would be there. The place where both things occur are there, and so we're going to say from -5 to -3 and from 0 to 2. And the reason is because g prime of x equals f of x is positive, or I'm going to actually say is greater than 0 and decreasing on these intervals. Now, you could have said that a little bit different, but when g prime is positive, we know that g is increasing, and when g prime is decreasing, that means that g double prime is less than 0 when g prime is decreasing. So that's the same thing. And you could have said, instead of saying that, you could have said g prime of x is greater than 0. You could also said when g double prime of x equals f prime of x is less than 0. So another alternative would have been, instead of decreasing, you just could have said g double prime of x equals f prime of x is less than 0. It would have been another way to do it, to have done that. Okay?